seem more sincere. I always want you to do the hello.
Okay.
I always feel like I'm taking the piss.
Oh,
Hello and welcome.
Hi and welcome to... Oh, I didn't see you. Right. Hi and welcome to Real
Oh
Opinions.
shit, I'm sorry.
Hi and welcome to... I completely threw me off. Hi and welcome to Real Opinions. This week we're doing a look back on the Mad Max trilogy for the new film Fury Road coming out tomorrow. We're just going to go back through the last three films and just talk about them generally.
Yeah, and then look out for our review of Fury Road tomorrow. Follow us on Twitter.
Subscribe.
So we'll start with Mad Max. It's from 1979. It was a low-budget film.
Some people call it action, some people call it thriller.
It's I'd call it a revenge thriller. It has its car chases, but I wouldn't call it an action.
Because it starts off like an action film, and then it slows down.
It slows down. And it's a weird one in sort of space of the entire trilogy, because when you think of Mad Max, you think of this post-apocalyptic sci-fi series. The first one is... We had this discussion, you thought it was a bit more apocalyptic than me, and I was like, well, on the apocalypse scale, it's around...
there's full-on apocalypse, and then it's just a tiny bit grubby.
Yeah, it's probably, if you called the others post-apocalyptic, it's probably apocalyptic.
Oh,
that's
a good
point.
When
the apocalypse is
it's
sort
like
of
in
happening.
the transition between... Like, I think, and it stands out because it's the most normal of the series.
Yes, by quite a long way.
Yeah.
Like there's a basic civilization functioning.
Yeah.
It's more just like Detroit than it is full-blown destruction. Yeah. But you're kind of seeing the breakdown of society, and it's sort of exemplified in the breakdown of Max, because he's like a good man. Yeah. And so as he breaks down, it's kind of like society breaking down with him. Yeah.
No, that's a good way of putting it.
So, basic plot, and it's quite simple.
Yeah. It is.
In the future there's just this police force that maintain order against biker gangs and stuff, as there's an energy crisis going on and civilization's collapsing.
But basically, this biker gang just ruin the local neighborhood, and you could say that they have a grudge against the police force, and so they're actively attacking the police force throughout the film. Yeah.
And then, avoiding spoilers, even though it is a film from 1979, we'll just avoid them for the sake of this.
The way we could word it is just that it's a revenge flick, so he's going to be getting revenge for something or someone. Yeah.
In terms of the revenge thing, we were saying it's weird that the actual prompt for revenge doesn't happen until like 20 minutes from the end of the film.
20 minutes, that's the...
Yeah, it's a revenge film in which the concept of revenge doesn't come up until the very, very end. So, do you like it?
Yeah, I did like it.
Yes.
Yeah, it was like... I found it a bit confusing in the beginning, because they drop you right in this world. Something's off with the world, and you can't really tell what from the beginning.
That's true.
I mean, it's not got the...
like the explanation.
For instance, with the second one, is the explanation of what's happened to the world. It's not, you're just dropped in, and it's just this weird police force that seems like they're almost like vigilante, because they're so not typical police.
Well, there is that bit where the chief, if that's the right word, says like, once he's out there, do whatever you want.
Yeah, do whatever you want. Yeah. Just make sure the paperwork's clean, is what he says,
One thing that I would like to bring up, I want to know how you felt about it. What did you think of the score?
The score was good. I liked the score.
Did you not think that occasionally it was a bit distracting? Like, it was just sort of people would be like, every kind of realisation that happened in the film was accompanied by...
I kind of took that... I kind of took that as part of, like, the age...
Yeah, no, it is part of the
aging. Like, just to accentuate every single... Because they do the same thing in the second one as well.
Yes, they do.
But that's more... That's more common in action films, because it's like big moment,
because
naked
the second one has such big things, the big loud scores.
I get what you mean. Yeah,
and the car chases in this one are good.
Actually, I think it starts off with the best car chase like in the film. I mean,
of that film,
right?
Film, yeah, okay. Because what I was going to say is the car chases in this one are good, and then you can see with the second one he's got more budget, and the car chases become great.
Yeah, no, great. Yeah.
And so you can see the inception of a lot of the elements of the second film, which is kind of basically, in my opinion, an improvement in more or less every single respect. Not to say the first one's a bad film, just to say that the sequel does its job improperly.
I think
building on everything in the first film.
This is kind of the way trilogies is kind of meant to go with good structure. Because, for instance, a lot of films now, a lot of film trilogies, they start off with the kind of slow first one and then go right into the action second one. So there's, I don't know, I've heard the Terminator's quite like in that style.
You haven't seen the Terminator films, have you? That's so weird. Yeah, well, the first Terminator is like a sci-fi noir film.
Yeah, and
then the second one is
goes full out
stuff.
action.
Yes,
Yeah, and then Alien's kind of space
horror
thriller
to war film.
Yeah,
this does the transition. I'd say this is not because I think Mad Max 2 is better than Terminator 2 or Aliens, but I think it is a better jump than those films.
It feels like more of a logical jump.
It's what I say. Whilst I'm not saying it's necessarily one of the best sequels, it probably is one of the best sequels of all time. But I'm not saying it's one of the best sequels of all time in the sense of its actual quality necessarily as a film compared to Terminator 2. But what I'm saying is, it is the biggest improvement.
Yeah.
It's one of the biggest improvements I can think of. Like Catching Fire, maybe another one where I think like
that's
a lot better. And as well, at the same time as being a logical jump, it is also quite a surprising jump to go to a full genre change of gear.
So, just striking me, because I've only watched it for the first time in the last couple of days, you realise how much it's kind of influenced action films today. Like, for instance, the first thing that stood out to me was, if you've seen Looper references it a couple times, not just in the, like, the final climactic scenes are quite similar as well. Also, the ending has been known to, like, influence Saw and other films like that, so it's got that, it's definitely, you can see when you watch it, like, the kind of the birth of some common action or thriller films.
Yeah. And it's hard, like, I think we can speculate on all day, we can speculate on it, but we're 20. Yeah. We don't know. We weren't there, but I can imagine that if I was my age now, in 1979, I would have liked it a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And it would have been, like, one of my favourite films.
I think it would have been your favourite film of the year or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What else was it? Wasn't Alien?
Is it the same year?
I think so. Good year. It is.
Mad Max.
The Road Warrior.
The what?
Yes, The Road Warrior, which is probably one of the most influential sci-fi films of all time, as well, in the same way that the other one's an influential revenge film. Basically, I mean, I know we have the first Planet of the Apes before it, but it's a large part of the post-apocalyptic.
Yeah, why it's
thing.
so popular now.
Yeah, and you can see its influence in lots of things today. All I can think of is video games off the top of my head, like Fallout and Borderlands, but other things too, not just video games. And so this one tells the story of basically, we're now properly in the post-apocalyptic era. There's been a fuel crisis, and at the same time a war that they don't really specify.
No, they don't specify why there's a war. Oh, but yeah, I think
it's to do with the energy thing. They're linked, but there's a big war. Energy crisis, world goes by, and Mad Max is like a lone wanderer going through the wastes with his dog, and everyone's just scavenging for fuel, which is kind of the main resource of survival. And so basically he's wandering through the wastes, and to cut to the chase, he comes across a oil refinery that has like is it an oil refinery?
It's an oil refinery,
that has like a community of essentially, from what we know, good people living in it. Yeah. But they are kind of surrounded by this gang of this gang of people. We'll get back to them. Who are demanding the fuel for themselves, and they kind of ask Max to help out. Okay, so I like this. We already touched on this, but better than first.
Yes, better than first. Yeah. First, we could just talk about, I think, Max just as a character.
Okay.
Because in the first film, you know, we've already said, like, it's the breaking down of this character, and now we see him. How many years later? It doesn't say.
Oh, it does. But there is an answer to that. There is. I don't know how or where the answer comes from, but there is an answer.
But it's some time after. So it's after the reason he needed to get revenge in the first film, and so he's basically just a shell of what he once was. So he's just living to survive, basically. That's his whole character. And
he has a dog, so he's got some kind of companionship.
And you know, with these kind of films, it's the classic, oh, I don't really have to help you, I'll do it for my own benefit at the end, and then in the end he has a change of heart and he comes back to save the good people, and he doesn't do it in this film.
It's a nice kind of...
It's a nice change, because he sticks to his character throughout the film.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's not to say that he's a total D-hole.
No, but it's...
But D-hole?
They say he's an honourable man. Like, if he makes a deal with someone, he sticks to it.
Deal, but that's sort of...
But he's not gonna, like... He's not gonna risk his own life just for random person.
Gangs.
The gang.
The gangs, right. So the gang's led by this character called Humongous, who is introduced by the shot tracking up him that lingers on his weird metal crotch thing.
He's a metal gimp. That's what he is. He's just got like piped underwear and a mask, and that's it.
Everyone's calling him Humongous.
Everyone's calling him Humongous.
And then there's at the beginning you see these two gang members on a bike. I thought one of them was a female. No, it turns out that they're gay.
Yeah,
lovers.
It's just gay lovers, yeah.
And we were kind of talking about, we don't know if this is homophobic or very progressive.
Because they're the villains.
Yeah.
So you could kind of expect, and they're attacking this little family community, so you can see it. It's kind of like, oh, gay threat thing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's saying the big badass of the film is gay, but also it's really overtly gay parts, like how characters he has other guys on leashes.
Yeah.
And then there's also the gay lovers walking around with arseless chaps all the time.
Yeah.
Which they focus on in some scenes, which is really awkward.
The car chases are good. They're really good now.
Yeah, they're way better. Because in the first one, I think the big car chase is in the very beginning.
Yeah.
I think the main and this does the exact opposite. So the big car chase is the very end. Yeah.
And they're not quite as violent as I remembered. For some reason, I had it in my head that they were quite violent. They're not. That's not to say they're pussy-ish, but there's no real overt violence.
It's the kind of thing where you'll see a really split-second shot of someone getting hit, and then they'll cut away before the blood or stuff like that.
Or just people getting shot and you would earn a 15 certificate.
Oh yeah,
I would say
15.
It's a comfortable 15. It's not pushing into the 18 boundary, and that was something that actually surprised me. I kind of was expecting.
You were expecting it to be 18.
Violent, yeah. And I wasn't. I was like, okay, I thought they were violenter than this. More violent.
I think it's just because of the times, and I think they were known for being especially violent at the time. But now looking back on it, we've progressed so much in violence.
Yeah.
Or regressed, depending on who you are.
Yeah, they are perfect car chasers, pretty much.
Yeah.
They're coherent.
Oh yeah, they are coherent. That's why I appreciate it. Yeah.
Good. Obviously, it's practical. Good stunts.
Yeah.
They're never too repetitive. There's quite a lot of innovation in sort of how they change them up a bit and keep people different dynamics within the context of the situation of the car chase.
Speaking about the practical side of it, because obviously, this before the time of big visual effects. It strikes you more the scale of things.
Yes, that's
because
true.
When they have these big car, if you've seen the new Mad Max trailer, they have the big car chases with 20 cars following behind them. This is completely real on this one, and they have shots where Max is looking out over a mountain, and there's the compound in the distance, and all the trucks are leaving, and you think this is really happening because it's such a grand scale, and you know it's real.
That's true.
And I think, from the looks of it, it seems like given time he realised what was the strength of his series, because even though he obviously knows he's good at car chases because from the second one, but then the biggest problem with the third one that you said.
Okay, I'm taking Beyond Thunderdome.
Transition.
Yes, because you haven't seen Beyond Thunderdome.
No.
Lucky you. Now, Beyond Thunderdome, so it's the third one. It came out in I think it was 85.
Yes.
It was 85, thank you. Opens with a Tina Turner song, which is sort of so kind of what?
But it's it's an official Mad Max song, isn't it? There's two songs.
Tina Turner songs, isn't it? Yes, the one that opens with and the one that closes with different songs.
Because the main reason I remember it is because it was nominated for the AFI Top 100 Film songs.
Was it?
Like, it was actually nominated.
But yeah, it's that's a bit strange. But there is a big, I think there's a big tonal change when you go into Beyond Thunderdome. Not at first. Like, when I was watching it, I had bad memories of it, and then I put it on, and for the first 45 minutes, I was like, oh, I've been really hard on this film forever. It's actually pretty good. Then, 45 minutes in, I was proven right. But for the first 45 minutes, you have all the elements that you want. You've got the kind of heightened villains. You have this thing called Master Blaster, which is a giant with a midget riding on his back. One's called Master, the other one's called Blaster. One's like the brains of the operation, and the other's the brawn. Where they basically they run this town called Barter Town that is fueled exclusively by pig shit. Just how they put it in the film. And this guy, they're getting a bit cocky about it, because they're not actually in charge, but they're in charge of the pig shit fuel.
They're in charge. Essentially in charge.
Yeah, they're in charge, but they're not in charge, and they keep threatening to like withhold it if they don't get their own way, or they're not treated with respect or anything. And one thing I want to talk about, I was talking to you about this. They keep talking about how Master, the little midget that rides on the back of Blaster, is the brains of everything. Right, every time he speaks in broken English, and you're like, how is this guy the brains of anything? He's like going, me, Master, you listen, I give orders. He's the brains. Like, Max shows up to this town, and the real leader of it, I forgot her name, Auntie or something, is played by Tina.
Auntie something.
Yeah. It's played by Tina Turner, and she basically says,
oh, that would make sense.
Ah, yes. And she asks Max to get rid of Master Blaster. No, to get rid of Blaster so that Master's not so cocky anymore. Because he won't have a big tough guy. But the way they do it is through this thing called Thunderdome, which kind of legitimizes the murder. And Thunderdome is like an arena battle, like a gladiatorial arena battle. So they go in, that happens, that's great. All of that stuff, great. Then 45 minutes in, Max goes off into the desert, he monsters Dark Continent around for a bit, just pissing around in the desert.
We're just screaming at birds.
He's just walking around the desert for ages, and he comes across these kids, this tribe of kids that mistake him for like their messiah. Oh my god! It's like the Ewoks to the power of that. Short Round to the power of.
I like Short Round.
No one likes Short Round. No one likes Short
Round.
No. Now
everyone likes Short Round. I've never met anyone that doesn't like Short Round.
Well, we'll go on the internet and you'll find people who don't like Short Round.
Dr. Jones.
Fine then. They're Jar Jar Binks at the time. They are so annoying, and from that point on, it's like George Miller went, "What's a Mad Max film? I don't remember. So let's have this bullshit with kids like knocking over villains with barrels and like pushing them into pig poo," and it's like, what is it? Back to the Future now? What's going? It slows the hell down. It goes all like he's talking like you're seeing Mad Max, this ultimate badass, just sitting around with kids listening to them tell stories, and it's just like, what is going on? Who financed this? Or yes, George, you can do that. I don't understand. It seems to be a thing from the 80s. We were talking about just Short Round and the Ewoks and Return of the Jedi. What was going on? Why?
Look, they're just trying to aim more for a kid audience.
But it's an R! I checked. It's an R! So why were they doing that? What was going on? Somebody tell me who was alive then. Tell me why this was happening. But anyway, it's just horrible. And they're awful actors as well. And it castrates the whole thing.
Yeah.
And there's all the violent action goes away for ages until you finally, in the last 10 minutes, get a fucking car chase. And it's a good one. It's basically it's the one from Road Warrior, but switch the truck for a train.
Okay.
They're on a train there and they're being chased. It's good. It's not good enough to make up for the kids. And it's basically, this is a perfect example of how kids can ruin an action film. Because they don't have to. There are definitely cases where they don't, but then you have like The Last Action Hero or something where they're just like, go away and die! I don't know. But it's shit. I don't know if it is shit. It is shit, but it's like the first half is good.
It's half
but I'm
shit.
left. Yeah, it's half shit, and it's the shit half that's the end half. So it's the one that sticks in your mind afterwards, so you're remembering it as shit because it's the shit bit that was you were putting up with for 45 minutes. I mean, it's not good because even if you think the good bit's really good, it only counterbalances the shit. At best, it's okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
At its best, it's okay.
Yeah.
But it is just the perfect example of how kids can ruin, particularly an R-rated action film. And it was so frustrating because the first half is good. The battle in Thunderdome is good. Kids, right? We're going to now do retrospective ratings of all three.
Oh right, okay, yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Mad Max for me, 7.
7. Yeah, I agree with 7.
Yeah. It probably I probably sound like such a dick, like such a kid that doesn't understand proper cinema, but I wasn't that age.
No,
I wasn't born.
It's hard to see how influencing it is from back.
And so seeing it now, unfortunately, it's not as special as it was. It's not my fault. Don't hate me. I can't help that. But the Road Warrior, 9.
I'm gonna say 8.
Still, we're close.
Yeah.
Very good. Like I said, a perfect. Well, not perfect. Obviously, we gave it 9 and 8, but a very good example.
It's a
of
good
a sequel.
action film. Like it's just a good action film to watch.
Yes. Now you haven't seen Thunderdome. I'm going to give Thunderdome a 5 because, like I said,
okay,
half good, half bad.
Yeah.
So Fury Road tomorrow. Watch out for that.
I'm excited.
Subscribe. We're starting that now.
We're selling out.
Yes. Tell them our Twitter quickly.
At